Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a thought: limits are not walls made of concrete. Most of the time, they are fences we build in our own minds. We say to ourselves, I can't do that. I'm not capable of this. That's just not for me. And yet, the moment you challenge that thought, the fence begins to bend. Push hard enough, and it breaks. Your future doesn't begin tomorrow. It begins today, in this very moment. The decisions you make, the habits you practice, and the standards you set are laying the bricks for the road ahead. So, the question is, will you build a future of strength and possibility, or will you settle for a future that looks exactly like your past? Think about this: a tree grows as high as it possibly can. If it can stretch a little further toward the sun, it will. If its roots can go deeper into the ground, they will. But human beings, we have the option to stop. We can decide to settle, to stay where we are, even when the soil is rich and the sky is wide open. That's the difference. And that's the tragedy. Now, breaking your limits doesn't mean you wake up tomorrow and climb the highest mountain in the world. It means you take the first step beyond where you've been standing. If you've been reading 10 minutes a day, try 20. If you've been earning a little, develop yourself until you earn a lot. If you've been giving the world half of your effort, break that limit and give it all you've got. Your future is not some mysterious force waiting to surprise you. It's designed by your philosophy, your actions, and your persistence. If you don't like what the future looks like, redesign it. Tear down the old blueprint of excuses and weak habits, and draw up a new one filled with discipline, courage, and vision. I'll tell you something powerful: the future is generous to those who prepare. It rewards the diligent, the disciplined, the dreamers who are willing to work. But it also punishes the passive. Do nothing, and you get nothing. Stretch yourself, and you gain everything. So tonight, I challenge you: break your limits. Don't negotiate with your excuses. Don't argue for your weaknesses. Don't defend your smallness. Instead, rise up and say, I was made for more. I will do more. I will be more. And as you keep breaking one limit after another, you'll find something miraculous. The person you become is far greater than the person you thought you could be. That's the secret. The future isn't just about what you'll have. It's about who you'll become. And once you break your limits, you'll discover that your future is not just built. It's earned, it's shaped, and it's deserved. So, break your limits and build your future. The world is waiting for the stronger, wiser, greater version of you. Limits are often seen as external forces that hold us back. But in reality, most of them are not real at all. They are not iron gates or walls built by others. They are fences we construct inside our own minds. When we say, I can't do this, or that's impossible for someone like me, what we are really saying is, I've accepted a boundary that doesn't actually exist. These barriers are made of doubt, fear, and a lack of belief, not steel or stone. The moment you realize this truth, you begin to understand that the real challenge isn't the world outside, but the conversation inside your head. Think about a person who wants to run a marathon, but has never run more than a mile. The physical ability is not the true barrier. The barrier is the belief that 26 miles is impossible. That belief becomes a wall, and every time they think about it, the wall gets taller. But the moment they break through by running 2 miles, then 3, then 5, the wall begins to crumble. The so-called limit was nothing more than a mental illusion, reinforced by repetition of self-doubt. Many people go through life convinced that their limits are permanent. They believe they are not smart enough, not strong enough, not talented enough. Yet history is filled with examples of ordinary people who accomplished extraordinary things by refusing to accept the limits others or their own minds tried to impose. A person born without resources can still build wealth. Someone told they will never succeed can still rise to the top. These stories are not about luck, but about courage. They prove that the real prison is not outside of us, but within us. When we examine our daily lives, we can see how easily these self-made barriers appear. A person who avoids speaking up in a meeting because they believe their voice doesn't matter is creating a limit. Another who dreams of starting a business but never takes the first step because they fear failure is living inside a fence of their own making. The tragedy is that these barriers are invisible, so many people never question them. They mistake them for reality when they are only assumptions. The power of breaking limits begins with awareness. When you start to challenge the things you've been telling yourself, you discover that what you once called impossible was only untrue. Someone might say, "I can't learn a new language." But if they spend 10 minutes a day practicing, they will soon surprise themselves. Another might say, "I'll never be confident in front of people." Yet, with consistent effort and practice, their confidence grows. Each step forward proves that the limit was never real. It was just untested potential waiting to be unlocked. Self-made barriers often come disguised as protection. We tell ourselves, "I'm not good enough." As a way to avoid rejection, we say, "I don't have time," as a way to avoid the discomfort of trying something new. In truth, these are shields we build to protect ourselves from risk, but what they really do is trap us inside a smaller version of life. Safety has its place, but when safety becomes your master, growth disappears. To grow, you must be willing to break the protective walls you've built around yourself. It's also important to recognize that the people around us can unintentionally reinforce our limits. Friends or family might say, "Be realistic," or "That's not for people like us." While they may mean well, their words often reflect their own self-made barriers, not yours. If you accept their limits, you inherit their prison. But when you decide to step beyond what others believe is possible, you open the door not only for yourself but for them as well. Your courage to break limits gives others permission to do the same. The truth is, human potential is far greater than most people ever realize. The mind is capable of learning endlessly. The body can adapt and strengthen beyond what we expect. The spirit can endure and rise above unimaginable challenges. The only thing standing between who you are now and who you could be is the barrier you've built with your thoughts. When you dismantle that barrier, brick by brick, you uncover a freedom that changes the way you live. Breaking limits doesn't happen overnight. It takes patience, effort, and persistence. But the process itself transforms you. Each time you go a little further than before, each time you attempt something you once thought impossible, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses, greater than your fears, and more capable than your doubts ever allowed you to believe. Limits are self-made barriers, and when you break them, you don't just change what you can do, you change who you are. The future is often spoken of as if it is a distant land, something we will arrive at someday without notice. But the truth is that the future doesn't begin 10 years from now or even next week. It begins today, in the choices we make, the habits we form, and the direction we set for our lives. Every decision, no matter how small, becomes a seed planted in the soil of time. The harvest may not appear instantly, but make no mistake, it is coming. If you want a better future, you must plant better seeds today. Think about how a single decision can alter the course of a life. Someone who decides today to read 10 pages of a good book may not feel the difference tomorrow, but after a year, that's thousands of pages of knowledge that could reshape their thinking, improve their confidence, and open doors to opportunities they never imagined. Another person might decide today to neglect learning, to neglect growth, and while the impact is invisible at first, after years the difference between the two is like night and day. The future doesn't come to us randomly. It is designed, and the blueprint is drawn with the pen of daily action. Too many people waste their present waiting for some perfect tomorrow. They say, one day I'll start that business. One day I'll get in shape. One day I'll repair that relationship. But one day is just a comfortable way of saying, not today. The future is not a magical place that suddenly transforms without your effort. It is the accumulation of countless todays. If you keep waiting for the right time never arrives, and the future becomes nothing more than a repeat of the present. Imagine a farmer who looks at his empty field and says, one day, I'll plant crops. If he keeps postponing, the seasons pass and the soil produces nothing. The farmer who begins today, even if he plants just a few seeds, will see growth when the time is right. Life works the same way. The future will only give back what you plant today. If you fill your days with procrastination, fear, and excuses, your future will deliver disappointment. But if you fill them with discipline, courage, and persistence, your future will bring abundance. There is a quiet but powerful truth: small actions compound over time. The person who saves a little money each day builds wealth over years. The person who exercises daily builds strength and health that can last a lifetime. The person who invests in learning today becomes the wise leader tomorrow. None of these transformations happen in a flash of lightning. They are built day by day, today by today. The future doesn't reward intensity once in a while. It rewards consistency practiced daily. The beauty of realizing the future starts today is that it gives you control. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't need to wait for the economy to improve, for the world to be fair, or for someone to open a door for you. You can start where you are, with what you have, right now. A single decision today can redirect your entire journey. Change the way you think, and you change the way you act. Change the way you act, and you change your results. Change your results, and you transform your future. It all begins now. Some people look at their past and use it as a reason to stay stuck. They say, I've always failed, so why should tomorrow be different? But the past does not create the future. The present does. Every sunrise is a chance to start again, to write a new chapter, to make today the foundation of a better tomorrow. The past is a story already written, but the future is a story waiting to be told, and the pen is in your hand today. When you think of your future, don't imagine it as something far away. Picture it as something that begins with your next choice. Will you choose to waste time or to invest it? Will you choose comfort or growth? Will you choose excuses or action? These small decisions shape the path forward. The person who chooses growth today will find themselves in a different place tomorrow, and years later, their life will be unrecognizable compared to those who chose to remain the same. The future is not something you stumble into by accident. It is something you build with intention. If you want success, start living successfully today. If you want health, start practicing health today. If you want wealth, start handling money wisely today. If you want love, start giving love today. The rewards may not come instantly, but they will come, because the future is always faithful to the seeds planted in the present. Every day matters. Every choice counts. The future starts today, not tomorrow, and the person who understands this truth has already taken the first step toward creating the life they desire. Nature is one of the greatest teachers we could ever learn from, if only we slow down long enough to pay attention. Everywhere you look, growth is happening, quietly, steadily, and with remarkable wisdom. A tree does not rush, yet it rises tall and strong over years. A river does not demand immediate results, yet over time, it carves valleys and shapes mountains. The lessons are all around us. Growth is possible, growth is natural, and growth is the very essence of life. Take a seed, for example. On the surface, it looks small and insignificant. You could hold it in your hand and hardly notice its weight. But inside that tiny seed is a blueprint for greatness. An oak tree that stands tall for hundreds of years begins as something so small you could overlook it. What makes the difference? The seed is placed in the right environment. It receives sunlight, water, and nourishment, and given time, it grows. That is a lesson for us. You already carry the seed of greatness within you, but it must be planted, nourished, and cared for if it is ever to reach its full potential. Nature also teaches us that growth takes time. No flower blooms the day after it is planted. No tree reaches its full height in a week. Growth is a process of small, consistent steps, each one building upon the last. In a world where people chase instant results, nature reminds us that real progress cannot be rushed. If you want to change your life, you must be willing to give it the time it needs. Just as nature gives time to every stage of development, the sprout does not resent being small, because it knows that in due season it will become strong. Likewise, we must learn patience and persistence, trusting the process of growth even when results are not immediately visible. Another lesson nature offers is resilience. When storms come, trees bend but do not break. Their roots dig deeper into the soil, making them stronger for the next challenge. This is how growth works for people too. Adversity is not the end of growth, it is often the very force that deepens it. Just as the wind shapes the tree and the river shapes the rock, challenges shape our character. Growth does not happen only in seasons of sunshine. It often happens in the storms, when we are forced to dig deeper into strength we didn't know we had. Seasons also play a vital role in nature's teaching. There is a time for planting, a time for growth, a time for harvest, and even a time for rest. Nothing in nature blooms all year round, yet everything moves in cycles of renewal. For us, this means we cannot expect nonstop progress without pauses for reflection and restoration. There will be seasons of hard work, seasons of abundance, and seasons of waiting. Each is necessary for growth. Learning to embrace the seasons of life, rather than resisting them, is one of the keys to long-term development. Nature also shows us the importance of environment. A seed has potential, but if it is placed on concrete, it may never sprout. Put the same seed in fertile soil, and it flourishes. The same is true for us. Growth is not just about willpower, it is also about environment. If you surround yourself with negativity, with people who drain your energy or discourage your dreams, your growth will be stunted. But if you place yourself in a supportive environment, around people who inspire, challenge, and encourage you, you create the conditions for your potential to flourish. Just as plants lean toward the light, we too are drawn toward sources of growth when they are present. There is also something humbling about how nature grows. A tree never compares itself to the one beside it. It simply grows as tall as it can. Flowers do not compete with one another, they just bloom. This teaches us that true growth is not about comparison, but about fulfillment. The question is not, am I growing as fast as someone else? The question is, am I growing as much as I can? Just like every tree has its own size and shape, every person has a unique path of growth. The key is to honor your own journey without being distracted by others. Finally, nature shows us that growth is not only about survival, but about contribution. A tree does not just grow for itself. It provides shade, fruit, and shelter for countless others. A river does not flow only for its own sake. It nourishes everything in its path. Likewise, when we grow, it should not be just for personal success, but for the benefit of others. True growth allows us to give more, to serve more, and to leave a lasting impact on the world around us. If we open our eyes, we see that nature is constantly whispering wisdom. Growth is slow, but steady. Growth is difficult, but rewarding. Growth is personal, but also communal. Every blade of grass, every wave in the ocean, every sunrise reminds us of what is possible if we simply commit to the process. The same principle that turns a seed into a forest and a drop of water into a river is the principle that can turn your life into something extraordinary. When people think about breaking limits, they often imagine grand gestures or massive leaps forward. They picture overnight success, dramatic transformations, or sudden breakthroughs that change everything at once. But in reality, the greatest limits are broken not in a single moment of triumph, but through countless small steps taken with consistency. Small steps may seem insignificant in the moment, yet they have the power to dismantle the biggest walls that hold us back. Each step is like a crack in the barrier, and over time, enough cracks bring the whole structure down. Consider someone who has never run more than a block without feeling exhausted. If they tried to run a marathon tomorrow, it would be overwhelming, perhaps even impossible. But if they begin with a small step, running for 2 minutes today, 5 minutes tomorrow, 10 minutes the next week, their endurance builds. Eventually, what once seemed like an impossible limit is not only achievable, but becomes part of their normal capacity. The transformation came not from one giant effort, but from many small steps added together. This principle applies in every area of life. A person who feels stuck financially may dream of becoming debt-free or building wealth, but the task feels so enormous that they freeze. Yet if they decide to take one small step, saving a little money today, cutting one unnecessary expense, or learning a new skill that increases their income, those steps accumulate. Over time, small financial decisions break the limit that once seemed permanent. The mountain of debt or lack of resources crumbles under the steady power of consistent action. Small steps work because they are achievable. When the mind sees a giant goal, it often resists, creating excuses and fear. But when the goal is broken into small, manageable actions, the mind accepts it. Doing 10 push-ups feels possible. Writing 1 page feels manageable. Reading for 15 minutes feels simple. And yet these simple steps, when repeated daily, create momentum. Momentum is what turns effort into progress and progress into transformation. Small steps are not about doing everything at once. They are about starting and continuing, even when the finish line seems far away. Another power of small steps is that they build confidence. Each time you take a step, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Confidence does not appear before action. It is built by action. The person who was once afraid to speak in public can start with one small step, sharing an idea in a small group, practicing in front of a mirror, or recording themselves speaking. Each step builds courage, and over time, the fear that once felt like an unbreakable limit dissolves. What once seemed terrifying becomes natural. The compound effect of small steps is one of the greatest forces in life. Just as drops of water can carve through stone over years, small actions performed consistently reshape your reality. One healthy meal doesn't change your body, but hundreds of them will. One kind act doesn't change the world, but a lifetime of kindness creates ripples that touch countless lives. One moment of discipline doesn't transform your habits, but repeated discipline rewires your character. The big picture of success is always built from the small brushstrokes of daily action. It's also important to remember that small steps are sustainable. People who attempt huge leaps often burn out quickly because the effort is too demanding to maintain. But small, steady actions can be sustained for years. A person who reads for 15 minutes a day may not notice much change in a week, but after a decade, they will have consumed more knowledge than most people ever dream of. A person who commits to walking every day may not notice dramatic changes at first, but years later they enjoy health, energy, and strength that others lack. The sustainability of small steps is what makes them so powerful in breaking long-term limits. One of the mistakes many people make is waiting until they feel ready to take a big step. But readiness is not what matters, movement is. The willingness to take the next small step, no matter how unprepared you feel, is what matters most. Every step forward brings new clarity, new strength, and new opportunities. The person who waits for the perfect moment to leap often remains stuck, while the one who takes small steps keeps advancing until the impossible becomes possible. Breaking limits through small steps also reshapes identity. Each small action is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. The person who chooses to exercise today casts a vote for being healthy. The one who chooses to write a page today casts a vote for being a writer. The one who chooses to save a little money today casts a vote for being financially wise. Over time, these votes accumulate and your identity shifts. The new identity supports new actions, and soon the limits that once defined you no longer exist. In the end, small steps are not just practical, they are transformative. They teach patience, build discipline, and develop resilience. They show you that progress is always possible, no matter how big the challenge looks. And most importantly, they prove that the limits you once believed in were not walls at all. They were doors, waiting for you to push them open one small step at a time. Many people live as if their future is already written, as if the path they are walking cannot be altered. They believe that because of their past choices, their upbringing, or their current circumstances, their destiny is locked in place. But the truth is far different. The future is not a fixed story. It is a canvas waiting for new colors, new shapes, and new possibilities. Your future can be redesigned no matter where you are right now. What you choose today has the power to rewrite tomorrow. Think about an architect who looks at a building plan and realizes something isn't right. They don't say, "Well, it's too late now." They simply redraw the design, adjust the blueprint, and start again. Life is no different. If the design of your life is leading you somewhere you don't want to go, you have the power to change it. The habits you practice, the values you hold, the people you surround yourself with, these are all parts of your blueprint. If you change them, you change the outcome. It's easy to believe that because you've been living a certain way, you must continue in that direction. But momentum is not destiny. Just because you've taken 1,000 steps down one road doesn't mean you cannot turn around and take the first step down another. The past explains how you arrived here, but it does not dictate where you must go next. Every day brings you the chance to redesign your course, to decide that the future you once accepted is no longer the future you will settle for. Redesigning your future begins with imagination. You must be willing to picture something greater than what you see today. Too often, people live in the confinement of their current circumstances, unable to imagine life beyond their limitations. But every great change in history began with someone daring to imagine something different. The future you want to create must first exist in your mind before it can exist in your reality. If you can envision a healthier, wealthier, more meaningful life, you've already begun the process of redesigning. After imagination comes decision. It is not enough to wish for a better future. You must decide that it will happen. Decision is powerful because it cuts off alternatives. When you decide, you commit. You say to yourself, no more drifting, no more excuses, no more waiting. From this point forward, I am on a new path. That decision becomes the foundation for every action you take. Without decision, the blueprint remains an idea. With decision, it becomes a commitment. Once you've decided, the redesign begins with small, practical steps. If your current habits have been designing a future of regret, replace them with habits that design a future of fulfillment. If your environment has been pulling you backward, change it so it pushes you forward. If your mindset has been shaping a small future, expand it with learning, discipline, and new experiences. You don't need to change everything overnight. You only need to start adjusting the blueprint piece by piece, and soon the structure of your future looks completely different. The beauty of redesigning the future is that it does not erase your past, it redeems it. Every mistake, every failure, every wrong turn can be turned into wisdom, fuel, and perspective for the new design. Just as an architect learns from flawed drafts, you can use your past not as a chain to hold you back, but as a teacher to guide you forward. The past becomes valuable once you use it to build a better tomorrow. It's also important to understand that redesigning your future requires courage. People around you may resist your changes because it challenges their comfort. They may remind you of who you were rather than who you are becoming. But the future is not theirs to live, it is yours. The courage to say, I will not be defined by my past or limited by others' expectations, is what allows you to break free and create a future that truly belongs to you. Ultimately, the future is nothing more than the result of repeated days. If you live today with the same thinking and the same actions as yesterday, your future will look identical. But if you change today, if you think differently, act differently, choose differently, you begin to write a new story. The power to redesign your future does not lie in waiting for luck, waiting for the world to change, or waiting for someone else to rescue you. It lies in your willingness to take control of the pen and rewrite the script. No matter how many mistakes you've made, no matter how stuck you feel, no matter how far off track you believe you are, the truth remains your future is still yours to shape. It is still flexible, still moldable, still waiting to be designed by your choices today. The question is not whether your future can be redesigned. It's whether you will choose to do the work of redesigning it. Opportunities rarely announce themselves in advance. They don't come with a sign saying, "Get ready, tomorrow is the big day." Instead, they appear suddenly, often when you least expect them. The difference between those who seize opportunities and those who miss them lies in one word: preparation. When you are prepared, an opportunity is not a surprise. It is a natural moment to step forward. When you are unprepared, the same opportunity passes you by, and you may not even recognize it until it's gone. Preparation is what attracts opportunity, because it positions you to be ready when the moment comes. Think about the athlete who trains every day. Long before the championship, long before the crowd cheers, they are preparing in silence. When the big game arrives, they are ready to perform because their preparation has made them capable. On the other hand, someone who skips the discipline of training may dream of the same opportunity, but will not be ready when it arrives. Opportunity favors the prepared. It does not reward wishful thinking. It rewards consistent effort and readiness. Preparation builds confidence. A student who studies consistently doesn't fear the exam because they know they have built the knowledge day by day. A musician who practices daily doesn't freeze on stage because their preparation has already carried them through the performance in private. When you prepare, you remove the anxiety that comes from uncertainty. You walk into situations with calmness because you've already done the work. This confidence draws opportunities to you because people trust those who are ready. Another truth is that opportunities often come disguised as challenges. The promotion at work may appear when your boss assigns you a difficult project. The chance to lead may appear when a problem needs solving. If you are prepared, you see these moments not as threats but as doors. If you are unprepared, you see them only as obstacles and shy away. Preparation sharpens your vision so you can recognize opportunities hidden within difficulties. What others run from, the prepared person embraces. Preparation is also a signal to the world. It shows seriousness. When you prepare, you declare that you are ready for more. If someone wants to invest in a leader, they look for preparation. If someone wants to trust a partner, they look for readiness. People rarely give great opportunities to those who are careless or unprepared. But when they see someone disciplined, consistent, and dependable, they are more likely to open doors. In this way, preparation acts like a magnet. It attracts trust, resources, and opportunities that would otherwise remain closed. Consider how preparation works in small, daily choices. Reading consistently prepares your mind for ideas that may later turn into solutions. Saving money regularly prepares you to seize opportunities that require investment. Building relationships prepares you to be connected when the right partnership appears. Each act of preparation may seem small at the time, but together they create a foundation strong enough to hold big opportunities. Without that foundation, even if an opportunity arrives, you won't have the capacity to sustain it. There is a saying that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Many people look at successful individuals and call them lucky, but what they don't see are the years of preparation behind that so-called luck. The author who becomes a bestseller has been writing for years. The speaker who delivers a powerful message has been practicing for countless hours. The entrepreneur who builds a thriving business has been studying, planning, and working long before anyone noticed. Their preparation created the conditions for opportunity to land in their hands. Preparation also builds resilience. Not every opportunity will succeed. Not every door you walk through will lead to success. But preparation ensures that even when you stumble, you learn and rise stronger. The person who is prepared doesn't fear failure because they know preparation itself has already given them strength and knowledge. Opportunities are not just about success. They are about growth, and preparation guarantees that even setbacks become valuable stepping stones toward greater chances. It is important to remember that preparation is ongoing. You cannot prepare once and be done. Life is constantly changing, and opportunities evolve with it. That means preparation must be a daily habit, not a one-time event. Just as an athlete trains continually, just as a farmer tends the soil season after season, so must you continue to prepare your mind, your skills, and your character. Every day of preparation adds another layer of readiness for opportunities you cannot yet see. The future is generous to those who prepare. While others wait for the right time, the prepared create the right time. While others complain about missed chances, the prepared make use of the smallest openings. Preparation does not just make you ready for opportunity, it attracts it. The world naturally leans toward those who have done the work, those who are equipped, those who are ready to step into the moment. When opportunity arrives, it does not ask for your dreams, it asks for your preparation. And if you have it, the door swings wide open. So many people measure success by what they have: cars, houses, titles, bank accounts, recognition. They believe that accumulation is the true sign of progress. But deeper wisdom reveals something far greater. It is not about what you have, it is about who you become in the process. Becoming is greater than having, because possessions can be taken away, but character, growth, and transformation are yours forever. Having can give comfort, but becoming gives meaning. A person may have wealth, but if they lack wisdom, discipline, or integrity, that wealth can vanish quickly. On the other hand, someone who becomes disciplined, wise, and hardworking will always find a way to rebuild, no matter what life takes from them. That's the power of becoming. It ensures that even if circumstances change, you carry within you the qualities that create success again and again. Becoming is the transformation of the inner self. It is about the patience you develop, the resilience you gain, the vision you cultivate, and the discipline you practice. Every challenge you face is not just about what you get at the end, but about what it makes you along the way. Climbing a mountain is not only about reaching the top, it is about becoming stronger, braver, and more determined with each step upward. The summit is temporary, but the strength you gain is permanent. Consider someone who works hard to build a business. At first, the focus might be on profit, growth, and recognition, but as they go through struggles, setbacks, and victories, they learn how to solve problems, how to lead people, and how to persevere through storms. The money they earn is valuable, but the person they become through the process is even more valuable. Businesses may rise and fall, but the wisdom, resilience, and courage gained from the journey remain. That is why becoming is the true reward. Having is limited, but becoming is limitless. A person may have a beautiful home, but if they never grow in gratitude, they will always feel unsatisfied. They may have status, but if they never grow in humility, their relationships will suffer. They may have power, but if they never grow in responsibility, they will misuse it. Becoming is what ensures that having doesn't destroy you. Without becoming, having can feel empty. With becoming, even the smallest possessions feel meaningful. The pursuit of having alone often leads to frustration. People chase after more and more, believing that the next possession or achievement will bring fulfillment. Yet as soon as they acquire one thing, the satisfaction fades, and they begin searching for the next. This cycle never ends because external possessions can never replace internal growth. When you focus on becoming, however, you find fulfillment in the process itself. You are not chasing happiness. It grows inside you as you grow. Becoming is also what allows you to handle having. If someone gives you $1 million without preparation, it could overwhelm or even destroy you. But if you become the kind of person who learns discipline, financial wisdom, and patience, then when wealth arrives, you can manage it, multiply it, and use it wisely. Having without becoming is dangerous. Becoming first ensures that when having arrives, it becomes a blessing rather than a burden. Another powerful truth is that becoming inspires others in ways that having never can. People may admire what you have, but they are transformed by who you are. A person who becomes generous, compassionate, and courageous leaves a legacy far greater than possessions. Wealth can be inherited, but character cannot. Status can fade, but the influence of who you become can shape generations. Even in small daily choices, becoming matters more than having. Waking up early to study doesn't immediately give you wealth, but it makes you wiser. Choosing to exercise doesn't instantly give you long life, but it makes you stronger. Practicing kindness may not fill your bank account, but it makes you more fulfilled and connected. Each small act of discipline, kindness, and growth shapes who you are becoming, and that is what determines the quality of your life far more than what you own. Ultimately, life is not measured by possessions, but by transformation. A person on their deathbed will not reflect on how many cars they owned or how many awards they collected. They will reflect on who they became, the courage they showed, the love they gave, the wisdom they gained, the character they built. That is what endures beyond time. Becoming is the true treasure of life. Having may bring temporary satisfaction, but becoming brings eternal fulfillment. And when you focus on becoming, the right kind of having will naturally follow.